So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our Navamsa planet series of the week. And this week we're going to be covering the placement of Rahu in the ascendant of your Navamsa chart. And what happens when Rahu, the north node of the moon, is sitting in the D9 chart of Vedic astrology, which is known as the most important chart alongside your birth chart. Like literally your birth chart is useless if you do not look at the D9 chart. Unless you're an expert and you can look at the degrees and assess everything, calculate in your head, you need Navamsa chart. Navamsa shows the second half of your life. Navamsa shows the bhagya, the luck you get through marriage. Navamsa shows the heart and the strength of your planets. So it's overall a very, very important chart. So now what we're discussing is placement of Rahu in the ascendant, the first house of this chart. So as always, if you do not know, if you have Rahu in the ascendant of your Navamsa, what other planetary placements you have there, and your birth chart, and all the other astrological details, for that, check out the links here. Check out my full astrological report, including my books, Astrology, Conjunction, Aspects, and Mahadashas of the Speed of Light, including all my consultations at this link. So, now, before we get started with this, I just need to let you know that I will be sharing some negative things with this placement. So I don't want you to segue into this video thinking that you're going to learn some great, amazing things. You will, but those great, amazing things that you will learn will also have some bitter fruits. How bad, how good? Well, that depends upon what I tell you in this video. So if you don't want to listen to it, you can just click it off. So first of all, anytime Rahu is in the first house of the Navamsa, that means you will have Ketu in the seventh house of the Navamsa. And this particular placement is not the most welcomed placement in terms of finding a sound married life. This is not denying marriage. No. So if you thought it's going to be denial of marriage, no. Ketu doesn't deny marriage in the seventh house. See, remember, Ketu represents deserts. So what happens is, depending upon the aspects and conjunction of planets in the seventh house, upon the seventh house, will definitely neutralize or even nullify the effects of Ketu. But when Rahu is in the ascendant, the number one thing is this person is delusional. They're absolutely delusional about what they want, about what they need, and about what they have in marriage. Their expectations of marriage are so high, and what they're looking for, what they need, is simply doesn't even exist. Brahma hasn't even made somebody to meet the expectation of Rahu. And the thing is here, the person wants to constantly indulge themselves in the feelings of partnership, love, romance, positivity, and attaining all the resources through marriage. And yet, they cannot have it stop. The moment it stops, the moment their enthusiasm towards marriage stops. And we're not even looking at the sign. And actually the sign is a very secondary thing with the nodes. Sign is a very secondary thing. Just their placement right there itself shows that a person is definitely drunk of what they want out of a person, what they want out of a marriage, what they want out of a partnership. And especially even in the second half of life, they're quite drunk about, what am I supposed to get here? Oh, life is about indulgence. Okay, I'll keep indulging. So those people who go from partying in the first half of life to even more partying in the second half of life, and not really understanding this flow of existence, being one with the existence, and not separating yourself with the existence. Well, here Rahu completely separates a person from everything. For them, it's like a YOLO life. You have one life to live, and okay, I'm gonna be going for everything best. I want the best money, the best house, the best spouse. And yes, I'm going to follow spirituality, and I want the best of spirituality, meaning I want the greatest of Guru. I want to meet the greatest of Guru. Okay, Yogananda is there. I'm going to go right now. Okay, I want the best temple or meditation room in my house. Otherwise, I don't think I can follow spirituality. It becomes that indulgence and being drunks. A person with Rahu in the ascendant can definitely be drunk on not astrology, of course they can be, but drunk on spirituality, drunk on oneness. But remember what the word I'm using here, they're drunk on that. They're not aware of it. They're just simply sunk in, and they want to get high from it. Of course, if you have conjunction placements of Jupiter within certain place of Navamsa, it's with Rahu, aspects Rahu, then obviously shows the person wants to break boundaries to understand the reality, to understand the dharma. And for them, being drunk in dharma, being drunk in God becomes everything. Is that good or bad? Oh, there's no such thing, as good or bad in this placement. What we see here is that a person trying to play into the leela of life, the play in the dance of life. The life says be drunk, they're going to be drunk. Life says be drunk about spirituality, they'll be drunk about spirituality. Be drunk about wealth and fame, they'll be drunk about that. But what happens is that the identity kind of gets lost with Rahu in the ascendant. Doesn't matter if it's an earth sign, fire sign, water sign, dual sign, it loses its self from knowing who thyself is. And what happens is, because a person is now fixated upon themselves, because remember, first house is the self. The first house is you in the marriage. The person gets asphyxiated on themselves, and they feel like, I don't need to go to the 7th house because it's a desert. I want to be near the beach. Ketu makes the 7th house a desert. Meaning, unless you find a person who probably has the same axis of Rahu and Ketu, which cancels itself out, you will feel like, what am I getting out of this marriage? Why is it so dry? Why is it not passionate? Why is it not lustful? Why is my spouse not into me? Why is my spouse not willing to be more sexier, to fulfill my needs and desires? And the problem is, they are probably sexier. They are probably trying to do everything they can, but you want it so much that you get bored of it. That's the problem. A person gets bored of. They run through this disease of boredom with the partner. And remember, I'm talking about this without placements and conjunctions, without aspects and conjunctions of planets. So this is a placement that can definitely get a person married normally, get a person married even early. I've seen all of it. Because it's all about the particular aspects and placement. Because Jupiter aspects your 7th house, Jupiter is in the 7th house, of course, it's guaranteeing you marriage. But obviously, you also have to look at the 1st house of Navamsa itself. That's the promise of the marriage. So Rahu, Ketu don't do in terms of denying or not. There's a certain yoga has to be formed with Rahu and Ketu for denial of marriage. But here, the most important thing is that a person is disillusioned about their path. Why are they disillusioned? Because they're meant to be. Because perhaps in 50 lifetimes ago, you misdirected somebody. You probably mistreated somebody. You probably took away somebody's wife or husband. So now you have to deal with that disillusion of the path and that confusion, indulgence, and then confusion to understand what is happening. Sure, material-wise, you can get all the material things you want with this, but there will always be emptiness at the end of the day. That's what a person has to understand with this placement. But, yes, without any aspect from a benefic planet upon the 7th house, because of Ketu being in the 7th house, definitely delays the significance of marriage and relationships. But again, we have to first see the birth chart and see the promise of marriage, promise of relationships in the birth chart. Then we look at the Navamsa. Okay, how strong is that promise? If it's average, yes, relationship, marriage. If it's great, relationship and marriage. If it's completely dead, okay, then the promise is cancelled. But the first thing is the birth chart. That's why you have to kind of look at them side by side, but also you can definitely look at it independently as well, if you know exactly what you're doing. But it always helps, because you have to do the interlacing of planets, superimposing of planets while you're studying it for marriage or relationships. So this is what, the prime factor is, the common denominator of Rahu and Ketu being in the axis of first and 7th house. Can somebody become enlightened? Can somebody become, a wise person? Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, you're dealing with such a complex matrix. I'm telling you, astrology, tarot, Kundalini, third eye, they're such complex matrix that one cannot ever have definite answer for that. Because the reason is, one can be blessed by a Devi, one can be blessed by a Guru. One, like remember, Mukunda, Yogananda, was blessed so many times by Sri Yukteswar when he was about to die, when his liver was failing, when he had thyroid issue. The doctors had given him 4 months, 5 months. Sri Yukteswar came in and said, you'll be fine. He just touched his body part, and okay, fine, you'll be fine in 2 months. So intervention, divine intervention can always, become a supplement to all these placement. So yes, you will find a yogi with this, you will find an enlightened person with this, but of course there has to be some sort of an intervention that occurred for that to happen. If a person doesn't seek any intervention, if a person doesn't, didn't sought any refuge under the divine power, then yes, of course the serpent is going to take over. But one thing I'll tell you, if person has Rahu Ketu in the 1st and 7th axis of the birth and Navamsa, that means they're ready to open up their Kundalini. Why? Rahu Ketu is what? A serpent. What is the 1st to the 7th house? 1st to the 7th house is here to my waist. Serpent is right there, activated. You don't need your knees, you don't need your ankles to awaken your Kundalini. You definitely need to be alive above the waist, because that's where all the organs are. So the serpent is, just imagine, 1st and 7th house. Or if you look at the South Indian chart, wherever, but the 1st and 7th house in the North Indian chart is right there, dancing. In the birth and the Navamsa chart, it's dancing. Now what you have to do is that you have to take this and you have to activate that. You have to awaken them from their dream that, oh, we're awake. So it's actually a very powerful placement when both birth and Navamsa has Rahu, Ketu in the 1st and 7th house. This person can definitely become a yogi. Okay. So anyway, guys, this was my analysis of Rahu in the 1st house of Navamsa chart along with Ketu in the 7th house. If you're new to my channel, subscribe below, guys. If you want to know where your Rahu, Ketu are placed, what other astrological details you have, my books, reports, consultations, check out the links here. Otherwise, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.